another example of that right now, off the back of that debate, is our parliamentary system. If you had a leader perform like Joe Biden did last week, they wouldn't last a day, maybe 2 days, Greg. You know as well as I do the way that our system works, that person would be replaced quick smart. But as president, Joe Biden, he makes the call, or he and his wife make the call, and right now the Democratic Party's freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, they're in an impossible situation. I mean, Biden was plainly incompetent to be president, and there's no method for removing him at all. And he has to be convinced to go. Now, his campaign will try to protect him. So he gave a couple of strong rallies afterwards. But even his rallies now, with his stump speech, it's teleprompter stuff. His head swerves from right to left and so on because he's looking at a teleprompter, and he shouts the lines. And whatever condition he's got, it seems that he's better when he shouts. But can he do unscripted stuff? I mean, previous Democrats would appear, say, on Fox TV with a hostile interviewer and go for, 40 minutes or something and give as good as they got and win a lot of sympathy. Now, I just don't think Joe Biden can do that. But there are all kinds of practical difficulties to replacing him. I mean, all the money he's raised could only go to Kamala Harris, can't go to somebody else because they weren't the person for whom it was raised. That's $200 million. And then will they have a consensus candidate? He chose Kamala Harris partly because she's pretty mediocre and nobody would ever prefer her to him. Well, that's right. But now the Democratic Party is caught in that contradiction. Maybe he'll have to step down and Kamala Harris will have to be the candidate. The Democrats, it seems to me, are not going to win a positive vote. They're going to have to run again on the basis of scaring people about Trump. So I think this campaign, ugly as it is now, could get a lot uglier as the Democrats try to find ways to demonise Trump in favour of whoever ends up being their candidate.
Yeah, I've got to say, it doesn't seem a very high bar, does it? Just to say they need someone who can walk and talk and debate and prosecute the case. It just doesn't seem that high a bar to jump to get a candidate who can do that. There's discussion about Gavin Newsom, also Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, from a Rust Belt sort of swing state. One of those goes up against Trump. He's going to be under pressure because his performance in the first debate wasn't that good. It just looked great compared to Joe Biden.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, Trump is Trump. Whatever happens, Trump is Trump. A lot of things I detest about Trump. I actually thought he was pretty shrewd in that debate. He didn't beat up on Biden too much. He shut up when he wasn't supposed to talk. I mean, he told a lot of lies, of course, but that's routine. But Kieran, I think the best of the Democrat governors is probably Gretchen Whitmer. But there's no guarantee that those people would be any good. I mean, Joe Biden's selfishness here has really crippled the Democratic Party. The Republican candidate from Central Casting was Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor. But it turned out when he was campaigning on a national stage, he couldn't make a connection to the people. There's a bit of mystery in electoral politics. The electorate has to fall in love with a candidate. Now, if Biden had said a year ago, I'm not running again, we would have had a proper normal Democratic primary contest, and Whitmer and Newsom and Kamala Harris and everybody else, they could have all gone up against each other, their weaknesses probed, their strengths revealed. But as it is, first of all, even if Biden goes, I don't see how you get rid of Kamala Harris. So she's got the sort of constitutional right to succeed him. But then even if she agrees to go, then are you going to have a contested race between Newsom and Whitmer and Pritzker and some of the other governors? That's going to be very messy. And then it might turn out that whoever you choose is a dud because they've never been tried on the national stage before. So this is a colossal mess for the Democratic Party. But my guess is Biden is very stubborn and very determined. He won't go and he won't do much in the way of unscripted moments, and he'll try to energise people not to vote for him, but to vote against Trump.
Yeah, it was the worst performance by a world leader that I can remember. Unbelievably bad. Now, uncertainty, great uncertainty in the US, fair bit more certainty in the UK. We know where that election's heading this week, Greg.
Yeah, it looks like Keir Starmer's going to get a huge majority. Now, Keir Starmer, he's infinitely better than Jeremy Corbyn. But Keir Starmer is a very left-wing guy. Historically, he was involved in Trotskyist newspapers as an undergraduate. He's always been on the left of his party, was quite close to Corbyn before he fell out with Corbyn. A few minor things will be very important in this election, like does the Conservative Party hold 100 or 150 seats? How do they poll against Nigel Farage's Reform Party? Does the Farage vote destroy the Conservatives and make them lose a whole lot more seats? There's a forecast that the Liberal Democrats could end up with 60 or 70 seats. It's just barely conceivable they could pass the Conservatives and become the official opposition. I would expect the electorate to swing back to a two-party situation at the last minute. Starmer is going to, Beth Rigby, the Sky journalist in the UK, asked Starmer the other day, are you going to have the biggest wedding party and the shortest honeymoon in history? Because he himself is not very popular, and Europe has swung to the right, but the electoral cycle means Britain is going to swing to the left. So I think very quickly they could find themselves with a lot of opposition. The trade unions are going to demand big wage rises from a Labor government, but there's no money to pay for that. And Keir Starmer may well find himself dealing with Donald Trump as president, and then even though he says he's going to honour the AUKUS deal, there'll be a lot of opposition from within the left of the British Labor Party to AUKUS. So we're likely to get a Keir Starmer government, but all the questions then begin the day after he takes office.
Indeed. Greg, great to chat as always. We'll know next week when we talk. I look forward to it.